My position on death, my position on this mortality situation is that I am completely opposed to it. That said, I concede there was never really an argument to be made. I get no say in the matter. And die, I will. I think most of us are aware we need to make some friends with death. But let's also admit that doing so is hard. Even if I repeat, there is no life without death, there's no life without death, over and over and over some more, my guess is at the end of the day, I'm still going to feel not that great about my inevitable demise. But the fact remains, death is a grand mystery. It is a great mystery. It is a necessary mystery, and it will be the last physical act of our lives, and we can do it well. And we can do things now that will help us do it well. Even when we're young or youngish and feeling good or feeling goodish, in fact, that is the time to do it. All this came up for me several years ago, about a decade ago, when I was in a period of time called my medical extravaganza. I was getting poked and prodded and MRI'd by a lot of good people who were trying to bring some clarity to a mysterious situation. And all I knew was I was in a lot of physical pain all the time. And at some point, it occurred to me, maybe it doesn't matter what's wrong. I should get ready for the end. I mean, I was in so much pain that it felt like something really had to be wrong. And so I thought to myself, by golly, if I ever feel good again, I am going to get my death prep together. I swear it. And meanwhile, I was helping my father through 14 years of Alzheimer's and his decline and death. And several friends died because that is what happened. Life happens. And it was all merging together. I just did not feel good, and I did not feel like I could really think about this in a compassionate, understanding, calm kind of way. But then it did get better. I was given a reprieve. Turns out that I'm not dying from that mysterious pain, which I am dying, I'm a mere mortal, but I'm not dying from that soon. So I had several years, and I did keep it on the front burner. And I spent several years going around interviewing everyone I could find that would talk to me about death. I talked to nurses, and I talked to doctors, I talked to hospice workers in palliative care, I talked to lawyers, I talked to dying people, I talked to living people who had helped someone through a good death. And I put all these wisdoms into a guidebook for me with the idea that I needed it, and I wanted to share it with other people too. Because I'll tell you one thing, most of us don't even think, what is a good death? What is that for me? What does that look like? And so I went around just asking everyone that, first of all. First of all, I want to say, we aren't getting the death that we say we want. 75% of Americans say they want to die at home, but only a quarter do. 70% say they want low-intensity care at the end of their life, but nearly half receive aggressive care in the last 6 months, which can be very troubling and expensive. And fewer than half of the people say that they have given, quote, much thought to the end of their lives, to which I can only say, what are you thinking? Because it's going to happen. I believe, in listening to all these people, that there's 3 major reasons we haven't prepared for it. We haven't prepared for it legally, and that means looking at our medical and financial documents. We haven't prepared for it emotionally, which is making peace with it, which I'll be talking about more later. And we haven't prepared for it strategically, the realities of how it really might go. And I think some people in this regard say, oh, if it gets bad, just take me out in a field and shoot me. But the fact of the matter is that's illegal and immoral, and probably the person isn't going to do it. So we need to own it. We need to own and advocate for ourselves to get to a good death. I think it's important to consider why do we push death away? Why don't we have a better relationship with death? I think there's a couple reasons for that I want to go over quickly. One is our culture today. It's not our fault, but we're very removed from death. We don't live on farms anymore, and there isn't a plague happening all around us. So it's very sterilized and medicalized and pushed away from us with white sheets and that sort of thing. We're just not that familiar with death anymore in this culture. 2, our knowledge about it isn't that great. It kind of depends what you believe, but I feel that there haven't been that many people who went and came back and told us all about it so that we know what to expect. I liken it to discussing sex with a bunch of virgins. Like The idea is out there, but it's lacking in specificity. And those conversations lose their appeal after a little while.